Hello, fellow mutants. Welcome back to another stream and or interview, whatever you want to call this. And in this vid or stream, I'm going to be hanging out with the lovely Michelle from the Force of Life Entertainment. As I nearly boomered the intro.
It's okay. It happens to the best of us.
So, how have you been? How's your day?
I've been doing pretty good, having a pretty good day. It's nice and sunny where I am. How about you?
Oh yeah, having a great day. Also nice and sunny where I'm at too. Kind
Yeah.
of chilly though outside.
Man, it's getting to like 80 where I am. I'm like it's October. I don't need 80 degrees.
Wait, it's 80 degrees where you're at right now?
Yeah, and it was like 70 yesterday, and then it's going back to 70 tomorrow. It's like this weird jump into heat for a
Oh.
day.
I'm so jealous of you. Like, which state do you live in?
I'm in
Okay.
Tennessee.
Oh, I've heard that can get hot, pretty hot.
It can, in like really only in July and August does it get like really like can it get pretty hot and
Mhm.
some humidity. But yeah, it's been nice lately. It just got up to 80 randomly today. So but it goes away tomorrow. So I'm happy with that.
Oh, so are you like a summer person or a winter person?
I like I like fall and spring. I like the non-extremes of both.
Oh, not extremes of both.
Yes. Like, fall's beautiful as it begins to get colder, and spring's beautiful as it begins to get warmer.
Oh yeah, I gotta say the best thing about fall is like the leaves changing colors. I
Yes.
That's like my favorite part of fall.
Well,
I also have that.
and
Oh,
you
you
get
go.
you get well, like again, the non-extreme seasons. You get in fall, you get the beautiful leaf changing, and then in spring,
Mhm.
you get everything beginning to blossom. So like
Exactly.
both are fun, and then the dead heat of summer gets tiresome, but then the dead cold of winter. By the time February rolls around, I'm really over it.
Oh yeah, by the time February rolls around, I'm over the code.
Yes.
And I my father was telling me about how I should love winter because my birthday falls in that. But I playfully told him that I was technically conceived in the um summertime or whatever, spring, summertime. So I probably that's why I like the heat better.
I understand. Well, and I just summertime again, in the peak summer, it gets hot where I am, which is why I don't love it. But
Mhm.
I did have a nice summer this summer. I really enjoyed like going out on my back porch and having because it's light so late, so I could go out on my back porch
Mhm.
basically until 9 o'clock and read, and I really enjoyed that. So I kind of missed that now that the days have gotten shorter again.
Oh yeah, that I think that's like one of the worst things for me about fall. The days get shorter. So
Yes, and then in
yeah,
winter,
I
they're
can
just
understand
really
that.
short.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. But I see some of you guys are popping into the chat, like Legend of the Brave board. Hello there. And I saw that Amen Fate was here earlier. Hey, bud. And Drew's here saying hello to the both of us. And the memes of destruction, which is a pretty awesome but interesting fellow at the same time. I'm not gonna lie. And then Gamer What? How you doing, bud? So I gotta know why what got you and your sister into making content initially?
Well, it actually started in, let's see, late 2019. I had the idea, and it started because I'm a minister and I wanted to do a Christian podcast. And I came up with Force of Light.
Mm-hmm.
And once I began thinking about it, I've always enjoyed movies and TV and discussing movies and TV. And I asked my sister one day, "Hey, would you like to? I'm starting this podcast. Would you like to do an entertainment podcast with me? And we'll just talk about movies and TV and stuff like that." And she's like, "Sure." So that's how we started Force of Light Entertainment. And we started as a podcast actually, which is kind of interesting because I never used to listen to I was never a podcast. I feel like you're one or the other. You're either a podcast person who just likes to listen to podcasts, or you're a YouTube person who likes to watch and get that aspect of it. And I
Right.
was always a YouTube person. But I guess I just thought it would be easier to start a podcast. And I guess it maybe is a little bit initially easier. But it
Mhm.
wasn't until, and we didn't actually start it until like February 2020. And of course, we start this entertainment podcast right as the coof happens, and there's no new movies, there's no new content coming out. So we had to be really creative that first year. And then in
Mm.
2021, we kind of found our footing on YouTube when the whole Gina Carano thing happened, and we put out our video on our thoughts on everything that had happened. And that's
Mm.
kind of where we began picking up steam. And then Drug 3PO found us and put us on his channel. And we then pretty much in 2021 exclusively became a YouTube channel, which is really what we're more comfortable with. Again,
Mm.
I started the other way because I thought it would be easier to do. But
Mm.
I really enjoy kind of the YouTube, like today, like when we started podcasts, we would do like an hour-long episode on a movie. I mean, that's kind of draining in a way when it's just two people. But like today, we just put out our review of Halloween Ends, and I think it's like maybe right at 17 minutes. And it's just I don't know. The YouTube thing definitely works for our personalities a little better. So we're doing that now.
And if you guys check this link, or that link that's by Michelle, that's a link to their latest video that she
Oh,
just referenced.
Yeah, we've been doing we really got into, let's see. At the end of last year, we started doing the trailer reactions,
Mhm.
and we put out our very first like first time watching reaction, and we've really gone into those and had a lot of fun doing that lately.
Mm.
We've got for the month of October, we've been doing our first time watching of horror movies. We just put out last week, we put out our first time watching reaction of the 1984 Nightmare on Elm Street, which, I mean, obviously neither one of us had seen. And then next week, we should actually, and I know we reviewed Halloween Ends. Next week, our reaction to the 1978 Halloween movie should be out as well. So we've got some fun. If you like horror, that horror's never been my main genre. That's why there's so many that I've not seen. But
Right.
I have had fun reacting to them. They can be kind of fun, I understand them now. They can be entertaining in their own right.
So I gotta ask, like, out of all of your first watched videos, what is your favorite that you guys did?
Okay, so favorite, like I thought that was the best one we ever did, or the movie I like the most?
Either or, both. Sir, both. Let's go both.
Hmm. I'm trying to think. Um, well, let me think of what would be okay. Probably the movie I enjoyed the most that we've recorded ourselves was Karate Kid. I had never
Oh, really?
seen any of the 3 Karate Kid movies, and Natalie and I both were just, like, blown away by The Karate Kid. Like, what a good movie we thought it I mean, good is an understatement. Like, that is truly an excellent movie. I mean, great movie. Like, will stand the test of time type of movie.
Oh yeah,
So,
I have to agree for
yeah.
sure.
Have you seen all of those?
I've seen the first 3 and the next Karate Kid, and all of those movies were pretty good.
Yes.
Way better than the reboot that was with Jackie Chan and then Will
And Will
Smith's son.
Smith's son? Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you watch Cobra Kai too?
Oh yes.
Yes, Cobra
Oh
Kai is
yeah.
a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. What about you? You like caught up with the latest season too?
Yes, yeah, we've already reviewed that and everything. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Yeah. What was like your favorite part of Cobra Kai since we're on that topic?
like the series as a whole, or
Yeah, as a series as a whole. Yeah, what's your favorite part or moment of whatever of Cobra Kai?
I don't know if I could say a favorite moment. I really let's see. I thought the first season was like really was excellent. Like the
Oh wait,
first season, as much as I've enjoyed the following seasons, the first season is dang good TV. Like that was so well written and done. The first season in particular. But this last season I thought was really good, and I really loved Chosen in the fifth season. He was like the standout star to me. I really enjoyed him being in it.
oh yeah. I thought that he was like a pretty cool, like quote unquote stand-in, if you will, for Mr. Miyagi. That was
Yes,
so
he
cool.
was.
Oh yeah. Oh, and I see Drew saying, I remember finding the Force of Light on YouTube because of the Gina thing, and Drunk 3PO at the same time.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, see, that's awesome. Yeah, that we had a lot of people. That's when we finally began to get traction, was when we put out that video about our thoughts on the Gina situation.
Yeah, I remember because I was telling Michelle this backstage that how I got introduced to Force of Light Entertainment was essentially through Drunk 3PO, like Drew said. And I remember just being like, I so like in awe and like how you guys like where did your guys like where did your guy how your guys stance on the stuff that a Drunk 3PO made of, like as you guys said, I had to subscribe and I binged watched some of your guys' videos. Said these two ladies are pretty awesome. I got
Oh,
yeah. So like it was a ride that I never got off, thankfully, because you guys are awesome.
oh, well, thank you so much. And you always love hearing that. It's always so fun, and it's
Mm-hmm.
we always enjoyed. I'm sure you're the same way. It's fun to like to know when people like found you, like what part on
Oh
this
yeah.
journey that they found you, and we've got some people that have been with us from like day one, and then
Mm-hmm.
you get some people that found you on the last video and now are in your live chats, and either way, it's a lot of fun connecting with people.
Oh yeah, it really is. It really is. And hey, TD.
And in fact, that's one of the things that's why I think one of the reasons I even prefer YouTube to podcasts. Like with
Mhm.
podcasts, like if you're when I say a podcast, obviously people do podcasts on YouTube. That's not what I'm saying. I'm
Right.
saying like, exclusively a podcast. Like you're not on YouTube. No one sees you. They just hear you. And one of the things I don't like as much about podcasts is you don't get the interaction with your viewers. And I enjoy. I mean, obviously sometimes you get people that are kind of being jerks in the comment section, but for the
Mm-hmm.
most part it's a lot of fun to get to interact and hear other people's thoughts, and so that's one thing I've really enjoyed about YouTube, getting to have that feedback, and like you got the live chat now, and to see what
Mm-hmm.
people think and stuff like that. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I that's like another thing I like about YouTube as well as what you said. It's like the interaction and
Yes.
essentially the friendships that are made essentially as well.
Yeah,
That it's like one of the best parts about like live streaming, making being a content creator. Um,
definitely.
have you ever like met any of your guys like subs
I
or
have.
fans?
Yes,
Oh yeah.
we've met one of our subs, and someone who's been. I think he discovered us through Drunk 3PO as well, actually. But he's been a big supporter. But yeah, we have. And then at some point, like I'm not going to be able to make it this month to the meetup they've got in Florida. But it would be so much fun at some point to make it to one of the big meetups that either Nerdrotic or Geeks and Gamers puts on, because
Oh yeah.
it is so much fun to get to meet people that you've chatted with in your live streams and stuff. It's a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it really is. It really is. And I also like see like TD saying he's like one of those people that was introduced to you and I guess Michelle through Drunk as well. And yeah, Drunk's a good guy. I really was happy that I was able to like get introduced to you guys through him.
Yes, yeah, and that's fun too. Bringing people on your channel and them get yeah.
Mhm.
YouTube is a fun community. I enjoy it.
Oh yeah. And oh, before I forget, hey Tip. It's this little moronic little inside joke that me and him have, where I have a fiance, air quotes
Oh,
on a
okay.
fiance. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Well, she has to pay me to give them back, Tim. But hey, Ollie, or sorry, hey, Ollie. So like, if like you like from your perspective, if you could have like at least one a person having like at least one takeaway at the very least, maybe more, what would that one takeaway be from them watching Force of Light Entertainment?
I think it's almost like in our name. Like I
Mhm.
hope they take away some form of light from it. And by
Right.
light, I either mean just like I mean, obviously we always try to represent ourselves very well and represent. I mean, obviously, like I said, I am a minister. But I want people when I say light, there's so much heaviness too in this world. Like there's just
Mhm.
so much heaviness in our society. And if you get on social media, just everywhere, it's like we're surrounded by heaviness. And I hope people get like that sense of light when they come to our channel. Like one, like I mean that in the sense of literal light, like again the world can be a dark place, and I hope when they click on our channel it's a light time, both the heaviness, like not being heavy, and also just kind of adding a brightness to people's world. So basically another way of saying that is like I hope they leave like encouraged with a smile on their
Mhm.
face, or you know, whatever. We are there. We even when we cover things like today's video, we didn't particularly like the movie, but we express that in a silly, lighthearted way, because again, life's heavy enough. Like I hope people that watch church, and we get comments like that, and that always means so much to me. I just hope that people again that when they come to our channel, there's a little bit of light in their world, even if it's
Right.
just for those few minutes, some encouragement, just kind of some non-heaviness, some brightness put into their life.
And that makes sense. Yeah, that's a really awesome goal to strive for, and hopefully I can put like for me, like I also hope that I can put a smile on people's faces too, which is like why I don't know if you've seen any of my previous streams. I do have this like little meme that goes on that I kind of make a fool of myself, but when I had Tux on, she like last time, this made her laugh because she didn't expect this.
Walking in the winter wonderland.
Here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. Blitzen, blitzen, all his reindeer pulling on the reins.
Well, and see that's kind of what I'm saying, and that's another thing. Like on our channel, and clearly you too. Like again, things are so heavy and serious. I don't like our channel to be heavy and serious. I like it to be
Right.
lighthearted, to be able to put a smile on someone's face, or again, just to be a force of light, basically, in people's life.
Right.
It's in the
Right.
name. It's in the name.
And so you were saying that you're a minister.
I am, yes.
So like if you don't mind me asking, what like inspired you to go down that path in life?
Well, I would just say that that always has to be a calling, and something that the individual knows that they are called on by God to do, and that's all I, you know, can say about that. It really is a calling. I was a business major, never had thought about that, and then when you get that call, that sense that the Lord is calling you to that, it's kind of
Mhm.
becomes the only thing you can see yourself doing at that point.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yes.
And meme saying I apologize, Miss, so you can't unsee that. And then Drew also making a joke saying finding Force of Light was on purpose, finding Phil was an accident. Love you too, bro.
You know what? I'm happy how they find us either way. I know he says that it was you that was an accident, but if people find us on accident, so be it.
Oh yeah. So, I like whenever like people tell me like you said we were saying earlier, like tell me how they met like discovered me. It's always like, wow, that's how you met me? Okay, or discovered me? Okay. Like
Yeah.
do you have like a favorite story of one of your subs or people that discovered you, I should say? How they discovered you then?
I really don't because again, it's like I said, I'm just always happy to hear it like regardless, whether it was someone a friend of ours that has his own YouTube channel, he discovered us in 2020 by and now it's kind of like the special thing between us, between our review of Enola Holmes, the Netflix movie they did with Millie Bobby Brown in 2020. So when we
Mm.
covered the trailer, he's like, I still remember I found you guys this way or from the first movie. So really anything, like any story, I always find interesting. Whether again, we've got a lot that found us through Drunk 3PO, we've got the people who found us through Gina, and then recently the people found us a lot of people have found us through these first time reaction videos.
Right. So
So yeah, I enjoy, I guess I say to say that like I enjoy hearing all of them. Like all of them somehow it's just I don't know. At like it's like the people listening until you make content, you'd probably think, well, what does it really matter? But every subscriber like means something to you in a way. They really
oh
do.
yeah.
Like it really isn't just a number. Like you enjoy those interactions. You enjoy hearing how they found your channel or what they like and that type of stuff. It's all fun.
Oh yeah. So like since you brought up Gina Carano, I'm guessing you're a fan of the like I guess the Lucasfilm era Star Wars or just Star Wars in general.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can see behind my wall. Let's see. I got the Return of the Jedi poster there. Baby Yoda. Oh, here we go. Baby Yoda there. Ahsoka, Baby Yoda there. Mando and Baby Yoda there. I've got let's see lightsabers. R2D2. Yeah, I'm a big Star Wars fan.
So I gotta ask, what's your favorite Star Wars movie?
Empire Strikes Back.
Nice, nice.
Empire
Like
Strikes Back isn't even just like my favorite Star Wars movie. It's like my favorite movie of all time. Like I love it so much. I love every second of that movie.
oh yeah.
Yes, I
Uh,
love the music. That's probably my favorite soundtrack for those three movies that John Williams did. I mean, Empire Strikes Back is just iconic. It's phenomenal. Oh yeah. I love Baby Yoda too. Everyone knows that at this point. I make no apologies for my obsession with Baby Yoda. Did Disney do that for a marketing thing? They did, but you know what? It worked. He's cute.
so like so then like why is like out of all the I guess like what 12, 13, however many Star Wars movies there is now? Why is Empire Strikes Back your favorite out of all of them?
It to me, it was just like a perfect sequel because the first movie, Star Wars, as it was known before they had to before they added a new hope to it, it was pretty much a perfect movie. Like it really
Mhm.
was. The original is pretty much a perfect movie. And it's like, how do you top that? And they come out with The Empire Strikes Back, which takes a more serious tone than the first one, although it still has so much humor throughout it. But it
Mhm.
just everything about that movie, it just works. I mean, from the moment you are introduced, from the moment Luke's music begins to play and you see him take his mask off in the snow for the first time, it always puts a smile on my face. To him, I mean, the introduction to Yoda in that movie, him that's
Oh
just
yeah.
awesome. Incredible scene. Again,
One of the
so much
best
humor and
introductions ever.
heart. What did you say?
It's just one of the best introductions ever.
It
What's Yoda?
is. It is. And then in Empire Strikes Back, you get the very first time you hear John Williams, the Imperial March is played for the very first time in that movie. You get of course, you get Luke becoming a Jedi and the showdown with Vader.
Mhm.
One of my favorites, and this is such a girly thing to say, but I am a girl, and it is what it is. One of my favorite scenes in any movie ever is in that movie, and it's the buildup of this whole movie that you've been building up to, where of course Leia says to Han, "I love you," and I know. And it's just like, I love that moment. That was like so epic. It was such a Han Solo thing to say and just so magically worked in the moment. And of course, to find out that Harrison Ford, they had tried that so many times. I think he would say, "I love you too," or I don't know. I think he said to her, "I love you" back. And
Mhm.
he was just like, "No, just doesn't work." And then that one time he just said, "I know." And they were like, "That's it." And it really is. Like, it's such an iconic moment. And I've said to people, I've actually changed people's minds and how they view that, because um at the beginning of the movie, Han in a it's a pretty humorous scene too, when they're in the hallway at Hoth, and
Oh yeah.
he's like, "Come on, you don't want me to leave because of the way you feel about me." And she's like, "Eh," and he's like, "Come on." Like, the thing about Han is he's really not being arrogant in that scene. Like, Han does know that Leia likes him, but he also knows because she's a princess, she views him, as he says later on, as a scoundrel, and she can't admit that to herself. So that's why they really earn that moment when she finally says, "I love you," and he simply replies back, "I know," because he does know. Like, he's known this whole time. She just couldn't admit it to herself or admit it out loud.
Until like she nearly died, pretty much.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, The Empire Strikes Back is it's just my favorite. I saw someone say Return of the Jedi for me, and I will say that, and I mean, I've got Return of the Jedi poster behind me.
Mhm.
Um, some people like to kind of like crap on that movie, and I don't get it. Like, I do really, I know The Empire Strikes Back's my favorite, but growing up
Mhm.
as a little kid, Return of the Jedi was always my favorite.
Mhm.
And I still love it to this day. I think it's a fantastic end to that trilogy.
I have to agree. I have to agree. I know, like did also ask in the chat, what's your guys' favorite Star Wars movie? And I know Drew says Return of the Jedi. TD also says Return of the Jedi. Uh Meme says Revenge of the Sith,
That's a
which
good one.
that was my first Star Wars movie.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because my mom, like up until I was like probably 11, she didn't let me watch the Star Wars movies for some reason, and because she said you were already into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you didn't need to get in Star Wars yet, and so yeah, she when I finally was able to watch the movies, I like what interests me was like seeing Anakin's limbs get chopped off
Yeah.
immediately. And as a 11-year-old, I thought that was like the coolest thing. So I went back and watched Revenge of the Sith, then watched it in chronological order, which at the time there were only 6 movies.
Yes.
And so like Revenge of the Sith for me will always have that special place in my heart because it's my first movie. But for me, it's has to be like Return of the Jedi, because like for me, with the whole Vader bit and Luke and Vader thing, it kind of taught me that people can change for the better. They just sometimes have to have like the person to help motivate them.
Oh,
To
definitely. I mean,
that's it.
redemption is a huge part of the Star Wars like ethos. Like, it really is.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
it's a beautiful one, really. I some people like to fuss about that at times, and I guess just because of my background, like, I really enjoyed that aspect of it. It's one of the things I actually like about it.
oh yeah, same here for sure. And I also liked how like the parallels like episode 3 and 6 had, because where like 3 had a
Yeah.
dark ending and episode 6 had a more of a light ending, and that was perfect.
Yeah. Do you know, I recently just saw like an interview from years ago with Harrison Ford. He was like, I don't really, because of course Harrison Ford's never happy with Star Wars. And he's like, I didn't like the end of Return. He's like, I thought it was a bad end. We're just having a party with a bunch of teddy bears or whatever he said. And I think that's the aspect of the family friendly part of Star Wars. Like it's always been family friendly. And I guess because I grew up with those when I was a real little kid, like I
Mhm.
always enjoy the Ewoks. They don't bother me. Because to me,
Same.
the Ewoks, have you ever watched, are you a Lord of the Rings fan at all?
I recently like so when I first watched Lord of the Rings, I hated it because my brother forced me to watch them.
Yeah.
But like it recently, because Dreamy Tabitha, she inspired me to rewatch them and take a like give them another chance. I recently like fell in love with the movie, so I'm a recent fan.
Okay, well, we are too. I had never seen Lord of the Rings until the beginning of 2021. So I've only seen them all the way through twice, the three movies. But I was going to say this, the Ewok, after I watched that, I was like, man, George Lucas got a lot of inspiration for Return of the Jedi. You know, the third movie in that is Return of the King.
Oh yeah.
He took a lot of inspiration, and I said all that to say this. I realized when I watched Return of the or Lord of the Rings that I feel like George Lucas kind of put the Ewoks in there. They're kind of like his version of the hobbits, like the people that no one thinks could help like take down this evil power, and they're used to help take down this evil power. So I kind of appreciate that message of like in a true rebellion at the end, everyone's helping out. Even the Ewoks have a role to play. And I always enjoyed them.
And if like somebody told me what you said that somebody was saying how they were having a party with teddy bears,
Yeah,
I
it
will
was Harrison Ford.
oh, I would have said, have you seen what they did to like try to do to like Luke and Han in the movie where they almost like ate them if it wasn't for like C-3PO and Leia?
I know that they definitely were about to eat them. As some people call them murder bears. That may be accurate, but I still like the Ewoks.
Same. Which
they were
which is
they
like
were
oh you
I was
got
gonna
it.
say
Go for
they
it.
redeemed themselves. They helped take down the rebellion. I mean,
Oh
take
yeah.
down the empire.
Which is like literally part of like the motivation for me to do like Ewok Kato cosplay was because I actually they were like one of my favorite creatures of Star Wars.
Yeah, I like the Ewoks. I always did. I always liked Wicked. I always liked all of them. I mean, in fact, I mean, you guys know this is true. One of the
Mm.
saddest moments in Return of the Jedi is when that one Ewok dies. Like it is so sad.
Oh no, TD lied. He said, "Nah, I lied. My favorite is Episode 8, Subvert Expectations."
Oh yeah, I know TD really means that too. I'm just kidding. There are those people that, and I feel like they just say that for the sake of saying it. They're like, The Last Jedi is the best Star Wars movie. It's like, then I don't know. Not that there's, I guess, a wrong opinion on what your favorite is, but man, that's tough.
That's true. That's true. Because I know, like the Last Jedi, I know, like for a while, like people would say that the prequels were kind of divisive to a certain extent. I never saw the divisiveness really. Well, partially because like I didn't like watch the prequels until like when I was 11, and by
Yeah.
then the prequels and the original trilogy was already made. But when the Last Jedi came out, oh my god, I don't think I ever saw seeing like a fandom divided as like strongly as they were until then.
Yeah, I mean, the prequels had their issues, I think just because of some of some of the lines that George Lucas gave some of them and things like that, and then just all the use of CGI at times, I think kinda took away from those movies. But there was, like, a clear story that he had, and to me, I began to appreciate I liked them when they came out when I was little and they came out and I first saw them, and then I was like, "Eh," and now am I gonna sit around and watch the prequels a lot? I'm not. But I would say this, that Clone Wars really made me appreciate them a lot more. And Revenge of the Sith is a really good movie, actually. I mean, that one, there's none. People would say Rogue One. I don't think Disney's made a movie better than Revenge of the Sith. It is a really solid movie.
Yeah, I have to agree that Revenge of the Sith is a good movie, but when it comes to like Disney Star Wars, I am in that camp where like Rogue One is the best Star Wars movie that Disney produced, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, so I'm kind of like torn in between that those
Oh
two.
no. No, I agree that Rogue One is probably the best. I'm just saying that I still think Revenge of the Sith is a better Star Wars movie. I don't know.
Oh,
That's just
between the
my
two.
take. That's just my take on
Oh,
that.
I have to
But
agree, and maybe I'm probably agreeing because like I said earlier, for sentimental values,
yes, because
and
that was definitely the best of the three that of the prequels. I mean, it's a really solid movie.
oh yeah, and speaking of Rogue One, since there's a show that's out
Oh
with one of the
god.
main characters of Rogue One, how do you feel about that?
Okay. If you enjoy it, more power to you.
Hmm.
That's great. I have not really enjoyed Andor. Like to me, it's just been,
Hmm.
and I say this, I've talked about it on a few shows. Um, I I like a slow burn.
Hmm.
I like a builder. I mean, Natalie and I, of course, we love Star Wars, but the other thing we have behind us, let's see, right here, is Stranger Things. And Stranger Things is like that's been our favorite thing out of the last couple years. Like we both love Stranger Things. And I say that to say this. Every
Hmm.
season of Stranger Things, the each episode builds upon one another to these epic finales. They
Right.
are builders, and sometimes they take their time with the characters building to these things, but they've developed characters well enough that you enjoy spending time with these characters,
Hmm.
and the plot is always being continued even in the building. Where like with Andor, there's so much that I could have already cut, and the main issue is I don't enjoy spending time with these characters. Like at the end of the day, I think that's what lacks for me. It's just again, if you guys like it in the chat, that's great for you. It's just
Hmm.
been too slow, is what I'm trying to say
Well,
for
I've
my
seen.
liking.
Well, like I when I was on actually Tim's Talks channel last week, which he was in the chat. There we go. When I was on Tim's Talks channel last week, I someone made the observation that like there's this like 3 episode thing to or formula to Ender, right? Where like the
Yes.
2 episodes, there are 2 episodes that are built up, but then the third one's is action. And I
Yes.
didn't pick up on that until the last episode. And so like I can't honestly get where you're coming from too, where it's like seems to like there seems to be too much build up. I can get that.
Yeah, and again, if I don't mind building if I'm having fun in the building process, but I guess that's the thing. I'm not having fun, and at times I'm
Mhm.
like, I don't care about any of you all.
Right.
Like that's kind of how I feel. And in the last episode, without giving spoilers, a lot of people die, and you're like, I just wasted so much time getting to know these characters that they're all going to die. So what was the point in any of this?
Well, I think the point was so we can get attached to them. So like when said characters do die, we can like say, "Oh no!"
Yeah, but I didn't feel that way at all. It was just like, okay, like, all right, see ya, bye. Like, I didn't care. And I said this, and I tweeted it out the other day. Okay, so a show that Disney did that basically is telling the same story just from a different point of view is
Mhm.
Rebels. Rebels is that early period in the rebellion before they're real. I mean, it begins to get into when it really is the rebellion. But I mean, it's kind of in that same period that Andor's supposed to be in, and it's this ragtag group that goes along and has these kind of random missions that they do to try to kind of cripple the empire little by little. But
Mhm.
I had fun with Rebels. Rebels was fun. You enjoyed going on those missions with them.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it was a lot of fun. Where Andor, like basically, we're what 6 episodes in, and
Yeah.
they've completed one mission. One mission has been completed. Like
Right.
That's just a lot of time devoted to one mission. Like,
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I was even saying this, I think, in my latest review of Andor, where I do hope they do start picking up the pace a little bit, because I don't mind the slow burn, but I think I am in the same camp with you. I think it's time for them to pick up the pace a bit.
yeah, like I think this has been my problem, honestly, with the last couple Star Wars shows. It feels like they had enough legit material for about a 2 to 2.5 hour movie, and they've tried to stretch it out into these shows, and there's a lot of wasted time, in my
You mean
opinion.
like Kenobi?
Oh, absolutely, like Kenobi. Kenobi should have been a 2 hour movie put out in theaters that was very focused on Kenobi and
Mhm.
then some Vader. Like, that's what should have been the focus. Like, everything else, no one cared about.
Right.
But yeah, they don't seem. I've said that on our channel, and I know I love Stranger Things, but it's been one of the biggest shows in the world for the last couple years. And it's
Mhm.
like, maybe it's time to go watch those shows and see what other people are doing and how they basically. I mean, the last season of Stranger Things was basically a 13-hour movie. Like, that's what we got. Like, that was the amount of time. And it was one continuing story that told one story. Like, Star Wars has yet to be able to come close to anything like that
Right.
as far as on the TV shows. And I do love The Mandalorian, but The Mandalorian is kind of like a Saturday morning cartoon, The Adventure of the Week. And I'm fine with that for The Mandalorian.
Mhm.
It's a lot of fun, but like Andor is not built like The Mandalorian. And it just, I don't know, it just lacks a lot for me. And I think I've learned too, for the most part, now I can enjoy things without Jedi, I think a little bit. But for the most
Mhm.
part, for me, Star Wars does kind of need the Jedi. Like, if it doesn't have Jedi, it loses the mysticism, which is what makes Star Wars magical and special.
Oh yeah.
Like,
See,
you know what I'm
I'm
saying?
yeah, I get what you're saying. Like for me, I think we should get like 90% of shows about the Jedi. Like I'm okay with them not having Jedi as a forefront per se, but
Yeah, I'm okay with that for TV shows, but make them good.
yeah, good. And for me, I'm since Mandalorian, I think I'm attached to I'm enjoying Andor, but like I said, I can kind of see where your point is too. People like your point where it's just need that slow burn to stop burning slowly.
Yeah. At some point, it's got to pick up. And I think sometimes I said this on a show I was on Tuesday, and they
Mhm.
understand what I was trying to say. Okay, look at Empire Strikes Back. My favorite
Mhm.
movie. I could go to Stranger Things, but we'll stay in the Star Wars world. The characters are separated throughout the movie. They're in groups. It's these little groups. Or even in Return of the Jedi, The Last Battle. There's Lando's group. There's the group on Endor,
Andor.
and then there is Luke up with Vader and the Emperor. And the camera keeps going between these three stories, but it flows so smoothly at that point. Like, you just keep jumping from one story to the next, and as it moves the plot forward. Like with Andor, they keep jumping around to all these different characters, but they feel very disconnected somehow. Like, it doesn't feel very smooth. Like, it's just like, oh, now we're with this guy and his mother. Oh,
Mhm.
now we're with this blonde girl that works for the Empire. Now we're with Mon Mothma and her dumb husband. Now we're with now we're with Andor. Like, you get what
I'm
I'm
not because I
saying?
totally agree with the dumb husband part.
What, her husband?
Yeah,
Well, I
I
think
just
everyone
totally
thinks
agree.
he's stupid. I mean, and to me, it's like that makes me question her judgment.
I think this question is directed towards you. Yeah,
Did I
did you
like
like
episode
episode
6? Well, it was a lot better than the others.
6?
Episode 3 and 6 have been the best because, like you said, they are doing these little 3-episode arcs, and it's like the first 2 are always really boring. And again,
Oh, yeah.
boring I'm not someone who has to have action nonstop. In fact, anyone
Mhm.
who watches our channel will realize I don't have to have that at all, like at all. But I need to be having fun or interested in the other stuff, and I just haven't been.
And speaking of interesting in other stuff, like you were mentioning Stranger Things, and how you like that has entertained you even when they were, I guess, going through those slow moments. So like, what got you into Stranger Things?
Well, in 2016 when that came out, it was like immediately everyone was talking about it. And Natalie watched it and was like, "Why don't you watch this?" And that was a show, and we'll get back to Andor. I actually use that to connect to Andor here again. Okay, so here's the thing with Andor. They had to release the first 3 episodes because they knew if they gave us just that first episode, they're losing everybody because that show didn't get interesting in the slightest until episode 3.
Right.
So let's go back to Stranger Things. Stranger Things, I was hooked by the end of the first episode, as was most of the world that began to watch that show. As any good TV show should be able to do. The first episode, at least by the final moments, should pull you in enough to be interested to move on to episode 2.
Right.
And Stranger Things just did that. It was just such a refreshing, unique story. I mean, there's really kind of not many things like Stranger Things. Like it's part horror, part there's a lot of comedy in it. Like that really works most of the time, especially in season 1 and 4. Then you also you've got the Duffer Brothers are just classic writers when it comes to introducing characters. I mean, they can introduce a character in any season and make you fall in love with that character. Like they just know how to introduce characters. And that's something Andor to me has struggled with. Like, I'm not interested in any of these characters because you didn't do your writing job. You didn't do a good enough job to make me be invested in them. And I don't know, Stranger Things is just, I think that is why it's so popular. It's very unique. It's just like a unique blend. And then there's so much nostalgia of like the 80s. And it's just, and it feels, it's like, okay, I always say this. I've said this. I should say I always say this. I've said this year a lot. The 2 biggest things this year that got into pop culture, that dominated pop culture discussions, were Maverick and Stranger Things season 4. And of course, Cobra Kai too. Oh, Cobra Kai. What do all of those have in common? They're basically modern day material that are throwback to like the 1980s in their approach of making it. Like in Stranger Things, literally it's supposed to be set in the 80s, but they write it like it was kind of made in the 80s, like the tropes that are used and how American it is and things like that. And they will even mention God the way they would in 80s stuff. And Maverick's the same way. It was very American, very had an 80s vibe. Same with what is Cobra Kai. They all feel like throwbacks to an era that I think we all kind of miss in Hollywood, like as far as movies, the way they used to make movies. I don't know. It's do you get what I'm trying to say in that? It's kind of hard to explain.
Oh yeah. I guess just
like I feel back in the day that they spent more time really developing good characters and writing good stories. And I feel like a lot of the modern stuff, they've just gotten really lazy.
Oh yeah, I agree. And like it was just why like shows like Cobra Kai, movies like Maverick, Top Gun Maverick, are like so like refreshing to see because they honor the old without like crappy on the old, bringing the new and blending it perfectly.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Cobra Kai and Maverick both did that like wonderfully, and you see how successful they both are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's something and that's what I will say. I feel Jon Favreau and Filoni do try to honor things that come before it. And I think that's why people like The Mandalorian. It felt like it was the most, to me, The Mandalorian in the Disney movie era, or the Disney era has felt the most like the original trilogy of anything they've really done. And by that, I know Rogue One looked like the original trilogy, but it was so much more serious and it have the heart that the original trilogy had, in my opinion. Where the Mandalorian does have that family friendly heart to it. I don't know.
Right. Right. That makes sense. Yeah. I'm just like absorbing everything you're saying. And yeah, it does make sense. Sorry if there was like an awkward pause for a second.
No, that's totally fine. But yes, Stranger Things is definitely my favorite. Cobra Kai and Stranger Things have been the two best TV shows this year, in my opinion.
I agree. I definitely agree. And since I seen this come up, what's everyone's thoughts on She-Hulk? For me, it's I let Michelle answer because that's me saying it friendly.
I watched the first episode, and let's just say I didn't want to watch anymore. But again, I saw they enjoyed it, and we say this on our channel all the time. Like, if you enjoy something, enjoy it. Like, like I really mean that. It never bothers us if I don't like something and someone else loves it. Because again, like, we live in a heavy world, and if something puts a smile on your face, then by all means enjoy it.
Oh yeah, and I live by the same model. Now,
yeah,
for me, like, there was a few things I thought was all right, but for the most part, She-Hulk was in, especially the series or season finale. It was lackluster, as I titled my video review of it.
Yeah, I just think, again, not to go back to these two shows, but I will go back to these two shows. Nothing outside of The Mandalorian, which and again, I know people say, oh, some people are like, oh, I like Andor better. That's great if you do. It's just, I have on my side that The Mandalorian, like Stranger Things, like Cobra Kai, it entered into pop culture. That's how you know when something's really big, when everyone's talking about it. Like Maverick, everyone was talking about it. It was dominating TikTok. It was everywhere. And
for sure.
Same with Stranger Things season 4. Same with Cobra Kai. And that's how you know something's really a hit. And outside of The Mandalorian, Disney does not have a single show from Marvel or Star Wars that has done that.
Yeah, that's true.
Even if you enjoy it, that's great. I'm just saying they've not been able to crack the code, so to speak, to really become like a pop culture success. I will accept, but I do think you need to go back and rewatch TD. But I suppose you can still be a moderator when on our live streams.
And then Tim says She-Hulk was meh. It had a good episode, and that was because Daredevil seemed to be the focus.
Yeah, and I saw a little bit of that, and I was bothered by that because I absolutely loved the Netflix Daredevil show. Like, I love that show. I've watched that show all the way through like 3 times. Like, I love it. And I just, I don't know. It's like they should just recast almost, because I feel they're going to change the Charlie Cox we know from Netflix so much that it's like, why even have Charlie Cox?
Yeah, I know at first when like the images, like, it's no secret if you guys haven't watched the She-Hulk,
it's everywhere.
No secret that it's Daredevil's in the show.
Yeah,
I'm not really like doing any major spoilers to the show for that, but I don't like his suit was different than what we've seen in the Daredevil show.
It had that yellow on it.
And apparently, like, that was like his original suit, and then he later changed it to the one that we got to know in like the Daredevil show. And I remember seeing it for the first time before watching the episode. I said, "What is this?"
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah.
And so, like I know someone was like, "Oh, well, that's more like the comics." And again, well, then just recast him. But I saw like that where he first runs into her, and I could
Hmm.
tell they were using CGI with his movements, and that threw me off because in the Netflix show, it's such a stripped down show in the sense it's just raw and it's just like his fighting. And I really love that, and I don't need all the CGI. Like he moved so awesome in the show on his own.
Oh yeah, and I think that's what partially made the Daredevil show so good. Now I would like, I don't know about you, I'm going to give Daredevil Born Again a shot because it has Charlie Cox in it.
I
What about
mean,
you?
I may, but I pretty much know they're going to disappoint me. Like at the bottom, because I'm going to
Mhm.
want the Netflix show, and that's not what they're going to give me. So, and again, that's why I'm saying if they weren't when you recast the same person from the Netflix show, guess what? A lot of people like me, we're going to expect the same Daredevil like from the same show. We don't want changes to that character.
Right,
And I feel they're going to change it a lot. At which point again, just recast.
right. And fun fact for some of you guys don't know, because I've been rewatching Daredevil, right?
Oh, it's
It
so good.
it is so good, and it's on Disney Plus. Like
Yes.
I'm a bit surprised that they brought like the Netflix Marvel shows onto Disney Plus.
I think at some point I'm just gonna buy all 3 seasons on DVD because I'm scared like Disney will like modify some of those scenes.
Probably, probably. I haven't caught any modifications yet, but I'm hoping they don't because Daredevil is such a classic.
Oh man, it was just to me it was like a perfect like it that was like perfection. That the all 3 seasons were just fantastic.
Oh yeah. And I see we're getting close to the hour mark, and I gotta ask you before we start wrapping things up, what is your favorite show or movie of 2022? Since we're like 2 months away from it being 2023.
Okay, favorite movie is gonna have to be Maverick.
Maverick was
Um,
pretty good.
and you know, I've really thought about we've not had good movies this year. Like we
Yeah,
got
for the most
Maverick.
part.
We got Maverick, which was really good, but like it's been a really bad cinema year. Like, I mean, I can't even. uh, I mean, it's been rough. Like, I've even been to the theater since I saw Maverick. Like, there's just been not good movies this year. Again, Maverick was fantastic, but that was kind of
Mhm.
it. It felt like. So Maverick was my favorite movie. Although my
Mhm.
second favorite was actually a Christian novel that I've loved for years, Redeeming Love. It came out this year. They did it really well. But then as far as TV, my favorite was Stranger Things season 4, and then second would be Cobra Kai season 5.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that they
Oh,
so it's like we didn't get like there wasn't like a lot of stuff that I love, but the things I enjoyed I thought were really, really good.
Oh yeah, I agree. TV's killing me here. I'm sorry.
Oh gosh. Do you know I haven't even watched that? TD, that's one of those cases on a live stream. Someone's gonna have to pay me like they did the Eternals in a super chat for me to watch that.
Thor Love and Thunder was okay, I would say
Chef's kiss.
this. The best part for me of Thor Love and Thunder was actually Christian Bale's performance. Like he did a pretty good job of being his acting was on point.
Yeah, well, he's a great
Yeah.
actor.
And Drew says I haven't been in the theater since Rise of Palpatine, as I like to call episode 9.
Oh man, Drew, I wish you would have seen Maverick. It was worth it. That was one of the best theater experiences I've had in a while.
Oh
Like
yeah.
the audience cheered multiple times, like just because they were so excited.
Last movie I saw in theaters was Rogue One when they released it. What were yours? What was your last theater before I close things up?
The last thing I saw is when I saw Maverick for the third time a couple months ago. I went and saw it with my aunt. I took her to see it because she hadn't seen it yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I'm trying to think like what my next theater thing will be. I can't think of. Maybe I go see Black Panther, but I don't know. I don't feel like there's anything coming out I'm that excited about.
Yeah, Black Panther, I'm intrigued, and Avatar 2, I'm intrigued.
Do you know I've never seen at some point before that comes out, we're going to do a first time watching of Avatar because I've never seen Avatar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've never seen it. So that's why I don't have excitement for the second one because I've never seen the first one.
Well, Drunk 3PO is like a huge fan of Avatar. Yeah, so like he praises that thing.
We're going to do a first watch. We'll probably have that out like the beginning of December before the new one comes out.
And before I wrap things up, since we talked about Drunk 3PO a few times, this is for you, buddy. This is for you, Drunk.
When I see your face, there is nothing I would change. Except the direction that I'm walking in.
Roses are red, violets are blue. If your booty's as big as a caboose, I choose you.
You are the reason why God made the middle finger!
Why are you drunk? But sorry, I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. But where can people find you, and what do you have planned?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can find us at Force of Light Entertainment on YouTube, also Force of Light Entertainment on Twitter and Instagram. And we just put out today our review of Halloween Ends. And we will have coming out next week, we are going to have our first time watching reaction video to 1978 Halloween. So be on the lookout for that.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And I will be updating the description a bit because I realized that and I know I know but I realized that for I did a boomer moment and forgot to link the Forces of Light Instagram into the description of this stream. But any of you guys who has an Instagram that wants to follow the wonderful, lovely hosts of Force of Light on Instagram, there we go. I just put in.
You.
And you guys can find links like Michelle's Instagram, Natalie's Instagram, Force of Light's social medias in the description down below. And with that said, any closing thoughts before we end thy stream?
No, just thank you very much for having me. It's been nice getting to chat with you. Thank you again for being patient. I've been busy and we finally found a good time for me to come on. So again, thank you very much for having me.
Oh yes, it's been a true honor, like I said earlier, I was introduced to you essentially through Drunk 3PO. And I always wanted to one day hopefully meet you guys, and it's a true honor being able to be on the same panel and just talk with you. I love the conversation.
Oh yes, I've enjoyed it too.
Fine, TD. Before I end, how do you feel about ketchup on pizza?
I'm gonna go with a hard pass, but I will do some good hot sauce on pizza.
A woman of culture, I see. But
I like hot sauce on everything. So.
Oh, hanging out with you in restaurants must be fun then, with hot sauce.
I've gotta have it.
But with that said, love you guys. Thank you so much. For those of you who came by and said hi, please, for me and Michelle, please go check the description where you guys can see this amazing person's links as well as their amazing co-hosts. And I may do an open mic later today. Who knows? But with that said, you guys know how to do things. And I'm surprised I didn't have an intro clip yet. So here we go. As outro. 3, 2.